What is going on, YouTube? Today, Chris and I talk through some of our favorite things about Persona 5 Royal, including our favorite confidants, some of the crazy systems in the game like the social stats, part-time jobs, battle systems, all-out attacks, negotiation, and exploring dungeons, and finally, Persona Fusion. So let's go!
Different
All the clinical trials.
Yeah.
And that's one thing I love, that confidant, but I also think that as far as like characters go that are important with the story, I kind of have a hunch of who I should be working on, and I know that Takemi and Ryuji are the two most important confidants to get up early. One because Ryuji at a certain level helps you clear more enemies and mementos faster, and I know that Takemi ends up being able to sell you SP restoring items eventually. So you can combo that.
Is that the like SP adhesives?
Eventually, there's like a certain point where she'll sell you like infinite amounts of SP items.
Oh, okay. I gotcha.
I don't know if they're adhesives or not, but it's a certain kind of medicine. And so those, like, as far as the game goes and what you should be doing, those are the ones that you should be focusing on. But I like her, and I've also, I don't know, Ann's a cool character. I feel like as far as like being a quarter American, I think is what she is, and coming into the game and being like also an outcast.
Is that's why she's good? Is that why she's good with English in school? Oh, okay. I didn't know that. That makes sense then.
Yeah. So every character has like this whole outcast vibe to them, and I think we're gonna pick up more of that as you go. It's not like the most popular people that end up being your friends. It's like every single person is an outcast.
Yeah, I think one of the most not one of the most rewarding points in the game, but definitely something I was immensely satisfied with after I did it was early on you can't increase your confidant rank with Ann because you keep getting like a message that she's depressed or she's feeling down, and you have to get your kindness level up before you can actually engage in any type of activity with her. And so when I finally got my kindness rank from oh god, do you remember what it was? It was like not shoot, I forget. It's from 1 to 2 though. It's really it's like not
level 2, whatever it is. I don't know what it is. Your kindness has to be like generous or something.
Yeah, and so something like that. But finally, when I got it from 1 to 2, because that was I'm just trying to, when I'm doing my character in the game, I'm just trying to make it well-rounded. There's not really any.
And I think that's the best way to do it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I got most of my other things to 2 or something, and then I think kindness was like the last one, and I had gotten that same message anytime I tried to approach her, and I was like, finally, once everything else I think was 2, I was like, all right, I'm getting my kindness up. I'm gonna read a book. I'm gonna watch a movie. I'm gonna do something here to get it up. And then when I finally did, and I was finally able to like you go out to dinner or lunch with her or something, and you kind of finally get to have that activity that increases your confidant ranking with her, and I was just like, yes, I got it. Like,
and that
was cool.
only actually happens. It's so interesting that you mentioned that, because knowing what I know about Persona, this only happens a couple times in the game where you have to have like a certain level to increase a confidant ranking, whether that's in like guts or charm or kindness or whatever. And that's one of the earliest. There's also something later in the game that's guts. There's something later that's also proficiency. But you have to like work on these things to become better at like being an all-around good person. And it's a little psychotic as far as like, the main character goes. Like you just have to like keep track of how well you've done. Like, oh, I'm gonna go work at the flower shop to become more kind.
Yeah.
Like, okay, buddy.
It is. I mean, from that point of view, but it's also just like it can also from like a more zoom out a little bit on the scope, and it's just like this person's just trying to work on themselves. I mean, yes, you as the player like are looking at a chart and looking at all the numbers and stuff, but I think I would like to think maybe the actual person. I don't know. It's now I'm getting a little kind of into it. Yeah. Never mind. Too much. But yeah, I think just generally it's just a person trying to work on themselves maybe. Man, maybe if I wasn't so I don't know. You get the point though.
If I
Uh,
wasn't so vain, maybe I could actually go make some friends.
if I wasn't such a dick, like, maybe I should stop hanging out with Ryuji. Damn it.
Great. Well, Chris, I say we take a quick few minute break and then we talk about the battle system and the actual dungeon crawling.
Definitely. I'm down for it. Schedule.
All right. So now we're back and we're talking about the battle system in Persona 5 Royal. And the reason why I think it's so important to talk about the battle system is because it's A, really, really, really good. B, very different from Persona 4 or any other games like Pokemon that you might play, even though it has some similarities to something like a Pokemon or a Fire Emblem in some ways, and like the ways that elemental attacks work. But that's what I want to get to now is like how much I love this battle system and some of my complaints with it. So first and foremost, I really like the mechanics behind baton passing and how if you hit a weakness or have a technical attack, you can pass your second move onto someone else and then continue passing it until you get to a point where you get to save some SP. So that's cool. And that's my favorite part about it. But Chris, what do you think about all of it?
Um, I like all out attacks.
Mm-hmm.
So you do a
Yeah,
lot of you do a lot of the important thing about this battle system is it's simple enough that you can it's pretty easy to grasp onto. Like by the within the first few hours of or couple hours of doing like the first palace, you pretty much probably have it down already as to
yeah.
how you should go in and out of each fight when you
Well, okay, kind of, right? Like at least you understand like the very basics of elemental attacks.
yeah. Um, yeah, maybe not like knowing like the hidden tricks of the trade kind of thing, but you have your gun attack, you have your basic melee attack, and then you have your different persona attacks.
Mm-hmm.
And so it can feel almost repetitive. Going in and out of fights, kind of targeting the same weaknesses, this and that
Yeah,
on certain enemies. All out attacks, where you get the main theme of Persona 5 rolling, and you get the cool comic book graphic almost of like all four of the characters coming up on the screen. It's really
sure.
like I get immense enjoyment and like an immense level of satisfyingness. Anytime I do an all
Satisfaction.
satisfaction, and anytime I do an all-out attack. So that to me is the most fun.
Sure.
You're supposed to kind of try and capture certain personas, as if they were Pokemon.
Yeah.
And
How do you feel about this?
it's cool. But again, most of the time, I would just rather do an all-out attack and finish the fight. I think it's much easier for me to just hit triangle and just be like, "Oh shit, we're doing it again,"
Yeah.
than for me to go into a dialogue with the persona to try and sway them to join my team.
But you still
So
get a
all out.
similar amount of experience and a similar amount of like everything that would
Oh
go
yeah.
along with it.
But boy, do I love that theme. And when it
Yeah.
plays and I get to see my characters kick butt, I am into it.
I am too. It's a really good animation. I watched this video on YouTube while I was like I'm really into this game. So I watch a lot of shit about it. And there's this like guy who will take apart pieces of animation from video games and dive into what makes them so cool. And he really dove into the all-out attack animation from Persona 5
Yeah.
and how it like works really well to flatten enemies by making them dark and to make it like super stylized by having all of the different like shades of red and white in it. And I love the way that it functions, but it's also really interesting because the way that you get personas in this game, to your point, by bartering with them if they get low enough and like weakening them, and instead of doing an all-out attack, you can say like, "Join my team."
Yeah.
Um, it's so different in this game than Persona 4, but no less important. And I think that that's something that as I'm playing through this, I'm realizing because um, So later in the game, and you'll realize this the more that you play, the more personas that you have at any given time, the more that you can summon from the compendium, which is essentially something that says, like, you have owned this persona, you can resummon them, you don't have to go back into a dungeon to get them. So you want to get as many personas as possible, because whenever it comes time to fuse different personas and to use the like fusion mechanic of like sacrificing two to create one,
Yeah.
the best way to do that is by having as many personas as possible that you can go back into your compendium and summon once you fuse people to fuse other people. And so that's why it's so important in the end game. But I understand your whole thing with the all out attacks. They're
Yeah.
fucking cool, man.
Yeah. To talk a little bit about I guess the Velvet Room aspect of the game.
Yeah.
With fusing personas.
Igor and the twins, and like your ability to look at what personas you've already had and summon personas you've already had and fuse two old personas into new personas. It's like a big thing.
This to me is the biggest part of the game that is still really lost on me. Like
A lot of people who
Like,
start this game say the same thing.
yeah, I mean, I every now and then I feel like I'm supposed to watch a video as to what I could be doing better and how I should be doing this. But then I feel like I'm still early on in the game,
Yeah.
and I'm like, oh yeah, you know what? It's probably not a big deal. Like you said, I think you're supposed to go around and maybe try and capture, like, if you see a new, almost like a Pokemon. Like if you were to see a new Pokemon in the wild playing the Pokemon game, you would try to catch it, to add it to your Pokedex.
Yeah.
It's kind of a similar thing, and so I try to keep that kind of frame of mind whenever I'm going into these battles against different personas.
And you don't need to catch more than one. There is no situation where you really need to catch more than one, unless you're trying to like level up a specific persona, in which case like you could grind other personas anyway. Like there's no real good reason to do that.
Yeah. But yeah, so I mean that's the so I try and catch like one if I know I haven't come across the persona before, or I'll try and capture it and have it join my team. But when it comes to the fusion and stuff, that stuff is like totally lost on me. Like I've done it a few times just to try and get like, you try and, just from my very basic and simple outlook on it, you try and fuse personas to get higher levels possibly, and to also you try and retain abilities that like your other party members don't have. You want to have a well-rounded team, and because
especially to take advantage of elemental weaknesses.
Right. And so like so those are the only two things I'm really trying to do whenever I fuse personas. But aside from that, I got nothing. I go in this room and I see these different options, and it tells me I can't make a persona higher than my current level, and I'm like, what's this BS? Like, come on, man. Like, I kind of level 37.
It's not a spoiler.